Okay, hopefully you guys can hear me. Good evening. Today is May 5th, 2024. It is around 10:35 p.m. I would have did this video earlier, but I had a lot going on today, so better late than never. Hopefully I'll put this video up tonight. If not, I'll put it up in the morning. It's still going to be useful to me and to you nonetheless. So what I'm doing is I'm about to go over my watch list, kind of clean up everything if it needs to be cleaned up, and basically get ready for the market to open tomorrow morning. Try to see if there's anything ready to go. And yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So, first things first, we're on Tesla right now, but I'm going to pull up my watch list. These are my four main ones. If you can see over here on the right hand side, Netflix, UNH, Adobe, and Tesla. This is always subject to change, okay? This is just what I've been watching recently. I like these stocks for different reasons, but mostly because they have a high ATR. So that allows me to be able to get in and out of these stocks quickly because they typically move a lot within a day or two. And I like to move fast moving. I like to trade fast moving stocks. I don't really care to trade slower moving, lower ATR moving stocks. And then, of course, I always keep the SPY and the VIX on here to give me an idea of what the overall market is doing. And then QQQ is also on here. I don't really even remember why I put it on here, but we're going to leave it there until I remember. So, anyway, what I will do typically on a Sunday night is I will go through each stock and I will analyze the trade. Right now, I have the daily put on here and the 3 hour because I typically trade the 3 hour, but I also like to get an idea of what the overall direction of the market is. And so this is what I mean by cleaning up. So like I'll come in here and I'll delete these markers here because they're no longer relevant. So I'm going to delete these. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to delete this. These, like, I just like to clean my chart off because not only do I trade these like on a week to week, but I also will come in here and study. So it's kind of like getting rid of expired notes or notes that you don't need anymore. So yeah, I will come in here and just delete all of these. Now I don't delete all of my markers, but the ones that I know I'm not going to need or use, definitely want to go because I don't like a cluttered chart. I don't like to see too much going on. See, like these circles were just like me studying something, so I'm going to delete those. And sorry, I feel a little congested right now, so I apologize. So we're just going to go back a little bit. I'm going to delete this blue line because I don't need that anymore. And what I am going to keep is the green lines because those are my support and resistance. And I'm going to keep these beige lines because those are my gaps that have not been filled yet. And I like to keep those around because I like to be aware and cognizant of where my gaps are. So, and I am going to keep this here, these two orange lines, because that is giving me an indicator of consolidation on the daily. So I like to see that too. Like, is if the stock is moving sideways on the daily, I like to notate that. So when I get into smaller time frames, I can get an idea of where that gap, the top and the bottom are. So I clean it off on the daily usually, and then once it's all cleaned off, I'll get an idea of like, okay, where's the cross? Is this currently downtrending on the daily? And it looks like it is experiencing a pullback currently. So it'll be very curious to see what happens tomorrow with Netflix, if it's going to push through that 20 EMA, that's the pink line, and go up and start to fill in that gap, or if it's going to reject that and go back down and start to fill in this gap and kind of go back to 540, 537. But that's something to notate on the daily. And then I'll come over here to the 3 hour, which is what I prefer to trade on. Excuse me, I feel so congested right now. So I like to go back and find the cross. And by the cross, I mean the death cross, which would be right here. So I'm going to put my arrow here. And this is what I do. I can't speak for other traders. This is how I chart. This is how I do stuff. So I don't know why, but I'm just like, let me make sure I let you guys know that. I know I deleted these earlier on the daily, but sometimes I'll clean it off and then I'll put them back on if they need to be there. One, there's nothing wrong with doing that to me, because if it ends up being the same thing, at least I'm consistent with my study habits. You know, it's kind of like if you rewrite the same notes, like at least you're consistent and you know that it's a note, like it's accurate, you're doing the same thing. So I'm aware that I already deleted these, but I'm going to put them back on here because I just realized they're still material, and that's fine. Sometimes I will repeat myself, and I don't see anything wrong with that. Uh-oh, what did I do? I don't know what I just did. Anyway, so there's your death cross, and there is pullback number 1. So I'm going to do 3 hour pullback here, and then I like to draw my zone here. And I'm just getting an idea of what has happened since that cross, okay? And so draw your zone here. This would have been a great entry, this candle right here, only because this is when it is actually leaving this this zone. This candle, or this candle actually, would have been great because that's where it's leaving that zone. Let's see, so it's going down and then it starts to retrace, and this is where it's not going anywhere. I don't trade stuff that looks like this. I don't like to see stocks move sideways personally. Again, everything I'm saying is what I do. I'm not saying it's the right way, the wrong way. This is just what I do. This is what I have learned to do from trial and error and from being taught, mentors, all those things. So I've combined everything that everyone has told me and came up with my own trading plan. So yeah, so I don't trade that. I like to see a cross. So there's that cross right there. And you really could just create a new zone right there from that. And I'm going to take that whole candle right here. And what I would like to see is a retracement back to this line right here, which is also by that 20. I'd like to see a retracement to here and then a push back up. And if I see that, I may consider trading that. But as of right now, it does not look like Netflix is ready. So what I will do is locate a pen. And you guys can't really see this, but I write down all the stocks on my watch list. So I'll do Netflix, the ticker symbol, and then I'll just put down like what I see. Like I'll write down it had a golden cross on, what was that, the 3rd? Yeah, it had a golden cross on May 3rd. And we're waiting for a pullback. Because I like to enter on the first pullback. So yeah, Netflix isn't ready according to my trading rules. So now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go to UNH. Now my charts may look a little crazy to you. That's okay. I'm gonna delete these. And I don't see, I know that I put these on here, but just for the sake of time, I'm going to leave those there for a second. And I'm going to delete this indicator there. And okay, entry. Okay, and I enter on the 15-minute, by the way, if anybody wanted to know. So now I'm going to pull the 3 hour over, and so here it says, let me pull this down a little. Okay, so this is a pullback on the daily, which is that indicator here, and then there's also this cross happening on the 3 hour. So a lot of buying action here, and so there's my zone that I made, and then this candle here was that pullback, not only to the 50 but the 20, so it's really pushing price up. That's a really good sign. I must have charted this. I didn't enter this trade, but apparently I could have. But let's see, so this would have been an ideal entry, and I can show you guys how I would have figured out where exactly to enter in on this trade. We can do that in a second, but let's see. I'm looking at the nearest resistance, which does look like it could be right up here at this shooting star in this line. So you see this resistance up here, this shooting star, and then this candle here coming down and completely consuming this shooting star candle and this green candle. This is telling me there's a lot of sellers right here. So I would probably make that a resistance, and a $3 move, it's not that bad if you're putting a bunch of contracts in, because I'm an options trader. But I don't know. It also could go beyond this and come up here to start filling in this gap. So that's something to consider as well. But this is definitely your nearest resistance that it would need to break. But let's figure out if we were to get in on the 15 minutes. So we already drew our zone and it came down here. I'm gonna actually do a bar replay, and we're gonna go here. So I just deleted those last two candles just to show you guys something. I'm gonna go to the hour, and as you can see within this hour, the hour golden cross is here and the pullback is right here. So what I would do is I'm going to draw two zones, one on the hour, one on the 15-minute. So this, I color code everything. So my hour is usually going to be blue. My 15-minute is purple. So that is the zone on the hour. And so now we're going to go down to the 15-minute. So we are in a zone within a zone, and we're about to create another zone. So I hope that's not confusing, but what I like to see is everything matching. So this is the zone, but it's downtrending. So what I need to see is it going up to match what the hour is doing and the 3 hour is doing. And the first time that it really does that would be right here when it closed above this 5 EMA and this 200 EMA here. So this would have been a really nice place to put a zone. And I'm going to do 15 minutes. So there's my zone within a zone within a zone. And so from that, I like to see the candle come in with a wick only and close outside. I preferably I'm recording. What?
You looked at me
No, you came in here and looked at me.
because you looked at me.
Okay. um, I like to see a wicket, like I call it a wicket, but a wick touch the zone and then close outside. And I like to see a bullish candle, honestly. These are okay, to be honest. Um, Probably would have got in either this candle or this candle, but I don't like these dojis. I really don't like getting in on dojis, to be honest. But yeah, so technically, because these came down, touched the zone, and closed out, any one of these three would have been a good candle. Let's just do the second one. So we're gonna come here and do a entry. So like I said, you would have came in there and like this is a hypothetical trade, of course, but we're gonna do a long position. So we would start right after it left the zone on the 15-minute, and I would have drug this take profit all the way to where we said we were. It was most likely the first resistance was going to be, which is 495, and so I enter on the 15-minute, and then I watch it on the 3 hour, and I exit on the 15-minute. So we're going to go back to the 3 hour, and now you can see, because the 15 minutes is just going to break down the 3 hour candle anyway. So now you can see where exactly we got in at, which would be this white line right here, which is at 488. So we would have got in here, which it coincidentally is where the 20 EMA is. And that is a okay, I'm just making sure I did that right. Yeah, 495. So from 48 to 495 is your entry and your goal, and then down here 487 would be your stop loss. So if this if UNH actually closed on the 3 hour below 487, you would have got out. So then of course, you know, with the bar replay you can just keep going, and this is the end of the candle. So tomorrow we'll have to see what it does, but that is a prediction that we can notate to see, well, what does it actually do, because you know we'll find that out tomorrow. But we're gonna see, does it actually go up and hit 495? And you know, in another reality I probably would have taken that trade and would have made what, $7, a $7 move, which would have been really good with 2 or 3 contracts. It wouldn't have been that bad. Probably would have been like $500 at least. So yeah, we'll come back and see if I was right. If UNH actually does go up and touch 495. Now, if it touches it and goes back down, that's fine. We just want to see if it actually goes up and touches 495. Okay, Adobe. Okay. Adobe is Adobe looks pretty good. It has been consolidating from what I can see. It's been consolidating for a while, so it's about time it actually shoots up. And this is the RSI, and we can see Adobe has been in this oversold section. So all signs are kind of pointing to it going up. EMAs are above it as well. So then you got gaps. Adobe actually might be a really good idea to take a long-term trade in for any of you guys who not necessarily are swing traders, but want to get into a stock and hold it for, you know, 4 to 6 weeks or something like that. Adobe has nothing but room to run up. So I may consider doing that in one of my portfolios, is just letting Adobe run up and getting a 6-month contract or something. But anyway, yeah, it looks like it's about to do an uptrend. I'm going to draw a trend line on here. So that's uptrending. And then I'm going to go over to the 3 hour and we identified a cross here, which is where I drew this zone, and now we are waiting for a pullback, which hasn't happened yet. So for Adobe looks really good. The only thing that I would be looking for is a retracement. I would like to see it come back down here, grab more buyers, and then shoot up. When it does that, we will probably be in this trade, at least for a little bit. So Adobe looks really good. I'm going to actually flag this green because, yeah, this looks good. UNH looks good as well. So both of those are not ready, but they will be, trades I'll be looking at. So that's something to keep in mind. And then Tesla, I traded Tesla on Friday. No. I traded Tesla. It was Wednesday or Thursday I traded Tesla, but my entry was trash, so I got out. And actually, that's a really good thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is like your entry has to be good when you're trading. Like you really it doesn't matter your technical analysis, your trading plan, none of that matters if your entry is going to be trash. So definitely make sure you are a beast with knowing when to enter and when to exit your trade, because even people like me who have been trading for 3 years, if I'm not careful, I will still get messed up in a trade because of my entry. I can be right about where it's going and all of that and still lose money because of where I got in at and entering too prematurely or too late. Entering a trade is like so important, like knowing when to get in. So I did get in on Thursday. I got in Thursday because I wrote this down and I was so mad because I got in here to write the put, which I shouldn't have done in the first place. And I'll explain that later because it's too long to explain now. But I got in on this candle at the beginning of the day because I knew it was going to go down and touch resistance, which is at the 20 EMA, and that's at 175, which is a support and resistance on the daily. So I knew it was coming down here. Except I really wanted it to come down here. You see this green line 170? I really wanted it to go there. And that was my first mistake. Because again, like I just said earlier, you always want to trade to your nearest resistance. Because what happens, especially with options, if you ride it to your nearest resistance and it goes and retracts up, that is your theta going up. That's like money. Like that you're losing because now it's retracing, and every time it retraces you lose a little bit more time for it to go back down. So what I would prefer to do and should have done was get in here, come down here, because I was up like $500 at this point, and me wanting it to go down here did not get out here. And then what did it do? Pop it right back up and then go into this candle here. So I ended up eating all of that back. And then the next morning I woke up and instead of being up $500, I was negative $500. And so what I ended up doing was I went all the way down to the 15-minute and then the 1 minute because I was like, okay, I'm really trying to get out now. Like I'm not wanting to do this. So I will exit on the 1 minute if I'm trying to like really capitalize on an exit. And I ended up getting out right when it got down here at 178, got out there and only lost $73, which is not as bad as 500, but I did end that with a negative loss. So I lost $73 on this trade, which isn't, I mean, it's still a loss, but I had put in 1,200, so to lose 73 is not that bad. It could have been way worse because I think I was negative 500 when it got up here. So for it to come back down here, I was like, okay, get out. But yeah, I'm saying all that to say, just the nearest resistance, please, because that could have been $500 in my account, and now like it's not $500. It's negative 73. So, that everything matters. So anyway, that was a lesson that I learned or needed to learn again apparently on Friday. But needless to say, Tesla is not ready. Obviously, there's no cross happening. In fact, that really is a pullback that I tried to short from down here. So this is a well, yeah, this is the cross, which means I don't trade opposite the trend. That's something that I personally don't do. I know some people will, and I just don't. I don't like to do. I don't like to trade that way. So, if the stock is going up and it's uptrending, I don't like to play against it, which is another reason why I should have never even done that. So I'm just breaking my rules all over the place. So, do as I say, not as I do, apparently. But yeah, you're not supposed to. Well, my trading plan says do not go against the trend, and that's what I did. And so, but it is currently downtrending on the daily. It's actually kind of doing this like flag thing because it's going down here, but then I can also draw from here, and these actually help show the lower lows and higher highs and higher lows and higher highs and higher lows. So when I draw them like that, you can see that right now Tesla is actually not made a decision on what it's going to do, and this tends to be what I would consider a consolidation area. So I'm gonna show you guys just basically how I would chart this. It's like I said, when it starts moving sideways, I don't like to trade those. I like for a stock to make up its mind on whether it wants to go up or down. When it goes sideways, I'm usually not interested because most of the time there's something else for me to trade. So yeah, and I'll make notes on my chart and stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and delete these orange lines too. I mean these red lines. I'm gonna delete this blue, this green candle here, and I'm gonna leave this because that is a demand zone on the daily. So yeah, so Tesla is uptrending, but Tesla is not ready for me to take a trade. So what is ready so far is Adobe. Well, not ready, but closer to ready. Adobe and UNH. I want to show you guys, I want to see if there is a stock that is like actually like ready for me to trade. So give me a second as I go through this just to see if I can find a stock that is at a pullback so I could show you like how I would do that. And then maybe I can even take the trade tomorrow and let you guys know what happens. I also really don't like to trade a stock right after earnings, by the way. So that's a lot of these stocks too. AMD may be one to look at for tomorrow as a put. So I'm going to come back to that in a second. Let's look at Microsoft. No. PanW. No, I actually missed this entry, focusing on my other stocks I was doing at the time. Friday was a really good entry for PanW. As you can see here, you have your pullback here, which is a beautiful near hammer candle. I love hammers. I love shooting stars. So that was a beautiful candle there. And then any one of these could have been an entry. And then your resistance would have been, um, hmm, this is a huge, so a lot of sellers coming in here. But I do have a resistance at 299 on the daily that came from somewhere that I can go back and look for a second, but I just want to see where that line is on the. Okay, here it is. This is the line on the 3 hour. So there's a lot of resistance here at this line. So that's how I draw my lines. When I see hiccups or stutters in a specific point, I would put a line that kind of tries to touch all of these candles, and that happened to be around 299 and 300. So yeah, and then I could do the same thing here with, let's see, if I go back here, and you can see the same thing but in a bigger time frame, like the hiccup. So it came down and then closed right above, tried to come up, came up, dropped again. So this is an area of resistance. It does it here too. It's the same line, 299, comes up here, closes just above it. All of these lines kind of touch it and hiccup. So when I see that happen so many times, like I usually call that a point of resistance or support. Well, depending on where it is and the price, I guess, price action. But anyway, so I just showed you guys how I do my support and resistance. And yeah, like I was saying, yeah, this would have been an entry for Friday, but we don't chase stocks. That's another rule number, I don't know, 20. Don't chase stocks. So this stock ran, and I would just be waiting for a pullback, but it already had two pullbacks. So I like to trade the first one or two pullbacks. I don't really like when a stock is on its third or fourth pullback personally. So we're going to keep moving. This is Boeing. Boeing was a good opportunity a couple days ago. And just because I chart all these doesn't mean I take these trades, but it is good to go back in and practice and get an idea of like what's going on. Like, and this is a perfect example of like the way I would have taken this trade had I been watching Boeing at the time. So this is ideal. So you see the cross here, right? This is the golden cross. And then you see it go up. And what I mean by retracement, I mean this right here. It goes up, comes back down, right? Pulls back to the 20 EMA, and it has a strong bullish candle. That's what I like to see. Once that happens, I create a zone. And this is, again, where it's a perfect example of me creating a zone within a zone. So once I create this zone, I came down here and did a 15-hour zone and then a 15-minute zone. And somewhere in there, I decided that 170 was the best point in which to enter. So I draw my, what are these things called? Long position indicator. And I entered here, and the resistance would have been this top of this candle here on 177, and drew that up there. And as you can see, we got in here, came up here, stopped right here. That's a $7 move. And it ran up some more, but I probably would have got out at the resistance. So this part wouldn't have mattered because rule number 32, do not get greedy. So yeah, that is a perfect, I couldn't explain it any better. This is exactly the kind of trade I look for. And this is the kind of trade that I will wait days to see, because $7 move in 2 days with 3 or 4 contracts is a nice return on your investment. But again, it's all about your entry. It's all about your position size, your expiration date. There are many factors to consider, but after that, it's not that difficult. You just got to be patient and wait for that entry. So Boeing did something beautiful, but we missed that run. So we are looking for an opportunity like this. Again, Apple is out of the question. I did trade Apple. I showed a video on me trading Apple. I traded Apple earnings. So this was a nice profitable trade for me. I was really happy with that. So yeah, Apple created this huge gap on the chart. So I'm actually going to make that line first before I forget, because I do like to chart my gaps, as I told you guys earlier. So, and I'll probably go back in here later on and like make certain that the gap is like completely accurate. And then once a stock completely closes that gap, I will delete the previous one. So this is a pre-existing gap that Apple closed Friday. So I'm going to just delete that. Sometimes I won't delete them right away. Sometimes I will. It just really depends. Really doesn't matter to me, but I like to know like where my gaps are. Gaps are super important. And I will delete this too because I no longer need this. And this is what I also do and mean by like me cleaning up a chart, is like deleting indicators or markers on here that like are not relevant anymore. So Apple's not ready. ASML is a no. QCOM just had earnings. And so that's a no. We don't trade MicroStrategy unless it's earnings. So that's a no. CMG, I really don't even know why you're on my watch list. Home Depot has earnings coming up, so I think I will do a video on that because I've been kind of dabbling in earnings lately. So I'll let you guys know how I do on that trade. But Home Depot is not ready. Home Depot is kind of like the same thing I would say about Adobe. Like, this would be a nice long-term trade because it's still kind of like, it did gap up, which is nice, but it still has a lot more room to grow and to move up. So I don't know, I may be playing a call on earnings. I'm not sure yet. It really depends. I don't get into earnings until like 2:58 the day of, like to play for the next morning, and then I get out. That's usually how I play it. So we'll see what happens. I'll watch it tomorrow because their earnings is on Tuesday. So we'll see. But either way, Home Depot, it gives me the same vibes Adobe does, where it just has room to run as a long-term trader. Maybe not swing trading per se, but anyway. Amazon, delete this. Nope, Amazon's not ready. Google. The only reason I wouldn't trade Google is, if you can see over here in this corner where my mouse is, Google is closer to the all-time high. I don't like that. I don't like when and I always chart my all-time highs with this blue line. Yeah, I don't really care for how close it is to this. I need to actually chart my support and resistance on here. Let me do a couple really quick just so I can show you how quick I do it. So stutter right here. So I'm going to do support and resistance and just do that. I see another one here. I see another one around here. I try to do it on the tops of the candles and not the bottoms. Let's see. And the way you can know you're accurate is when you go back. Because I think I just placed this one here, but look, you can see even back here, I didn't even go back this far, and it's like coming up, and it's not quite touching it. It just keeps, it's like a strong resistance there. So that's how I would chart that real quick. But yeah, I don't really know 168 and 176. I don't really like Google, but I mean, you could though, like you could do this because it's technically at a pullback. So let's see, let's see how many pullbacks it was. So there's your cross right there. And then there's your pullback. I traded Google too. I was profitable in this. I forgot I traded earnings. Yeah, I was profitable in Google as well. So yeah, here's your pullback. Pullback number one. And come down here. Here's another one. And another one. So I actually don't like this. I told you guys I don't like when it's like you're on your third or fourth, or hell, at this point you're fifth. So I actually would be waiting for Google to start going into a bear formation, and then I'll start looking for a pullback going the opposite direction. So the fact that it's on its fourth pullback and the fact that it's so close to an all-time high is making me not want to consider Google. So that's a process of elimination for me. Like as far as like just initial thoughts, Baidu is a no. CRWD is a no. BlackRock is a no, but it is something to consider for a long-term trade. I am mostly a swing trader, but I do help family like find stocks that they can just park their money in, and that's why I'm talking about long-term trades, even though I don't personally do long-term trades. It's something that I keep in mind for other people. So if you're someone who's looking for something to park their money in, I would consider looking into BlackRock. Of course, do your own due diligence, trade at your own risk, all that jazz. But BlackRock definitely looks like it has room to run a little bit. So even from 763 to 784 is a $20 move. But yeah, I would just look for a nice entry, because right now it's like pulling back to the 20, and it's like a near shooting star. It's not a complete shooting star, but it's enough sellers in here to push this stock back. I mean, this candle back down, and we don't like that when we're trying to go up. So BlackRock's not ready though, according to my trading plan. And was that it? Oh, we don't trade the Dow Jones. So sometimes this happens where I'll look at a trade, I'll look at my charts, and I won't see anything ready. And I can kind of do this every night just to kind of get an idea of what's going on, but it looks like right now nothing is actually in position. We do have a couple that that are about to be in position, or we're waiting for to be in position, which is UNH, Adobe. I don't know why Apple's on here. Apple doesn't need to be on here. And we're not going to have that on here. Oh, and AMD. Uh-oh. Yeah, AMD is looking like it's almost ready. I just dropped my pen. But anyway, so those are the the three stocks I'm going to be looking at for tomorrow and possibly Tuesday is UNH, Adobe, and AMD. So I will let you guys know what ends up happening. But yeah, this is kind of how I go over my charts before the market open tomorrow. It's 11:20, so this was about an hour. It usually goes by quicker, but I was breaking stuff down, so maybe this will go by quicker later. Maybe I'll do a live stream, and you guys can like give me stocks that you guys want me to check out, and I can analyze them for you the way that I do it. And yeah, if this was helpful, great. And I will see you guys in another video.